Now let's take a look at the TurboCourt Reports module. You can give specific staff access to the Reports module. And let's go ahead and log in. I will log in as a manager. And this is for one of the child support agencies in California. Again, this is one of our test databases, so the data here is not actual filings and submissions. We have a number of different reports. What we're looking at right now are the filing statistical reports, as you see here, and I'll come back to those in just a moment. But for child support service agencies, we also have custom report, and this is in California, the Filing Performance Measures Report, which is a very, very interesting report. So let's take a look at that. So let's say I'm focusing on the main application for child support services and RNAs. And of course, I'm focusing on just my county, in this case, Los Angeles. I can run this report based on if I have different locations set up. In this case, they've split it between a case opening unit and a modification review unit, but I'm going to go ahead and leave them as all. I can also focus specifically on a particular city in my county if I wanted to, obviously a date range as well. But let's just go ahead and run this report without a date range. And so this is actually going to create an Excel file, which you can then store on your local drive. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So the Filing Performance Measures report has several columns of data, and this was a report specifically set up for the California statewide child support services application. So the date of the submission, the time of the submission, the TurboCourt unique form set number, your agency case number, if any, the submission name that TurboCourt gives it, again based on the names of the parties involved, the filer's city, the CP's monthly income and annual income, the number of children in the CP's home, the question as to whether the CP is currently or previously married to the NCP, yes or no, is there an existing court order for child support, yes or no, is the NCP currently employed or self-employed, yes or no, the number of adults living with the CP, and if any, the amount of income that they have. And then what we do, if we look to the bottom here, is we calculate certain percentages, key performance measures. So one question, currently or previously married to the NCP, what percentage of these submissions have that situation? In this case, again, it's a test database. All 22 are either married or previously married, so 100%. The all-important question, is there an existing court order, yes or no? And of these submissions, over 90% had a court order. And whether or not the NCP is currently employed or self-employed, a whopping 82%. Fantastic. And then finally, the combination question, filings where the NCP is employed or self-employed and there's an existing court order, sort of the magic combination. And again, in this test database, we had almost 73%. And this allows you then to measure performance, focus on those submissions that you're most likely going to be able to help the applicant pursue their child support. And just in case this is a little bit too small to take a look at, let me just zoom in here a little bit so that you can see these numbers a little more clearly. And again, test database, but you get the idea about what this particular report can do for you. And again, because it's Excel, now you have it and can manage and manipulate it, process it however you need to. So that is the Filing Performance Measures report, and that, as I said, was a custom report done for California Child Support Services. Then our standard reports, going back to filing statistics, we have a total filings report. Again, you can base it on a particular date range. You can also base it on those category flags that we talked about. So for example, if you want to look at the total number of filings that were any type of a modification or any type of new request, and whatever flags happen to be set for your application in terms of unique characteristics. But I'm going to go ahead and just say all, click Generate Printable Report, and this is going to bring up a PDF report. And so it shows my date range that I selected and obviously the location. And this shows the number of completed submissions, incomplete, meaning partially completed, the number that are delivered, the number that have been marked rejected or marked deficient. In the courts, sometimes they mark it as deficient, and then grand totals, and then that is broken up by these categories. So, for example, any type of modification, 13 have been e-delivered, and of those 13, 12 of them were requests for modifications, and one of them was an answer to a request for modification. So those two will always add up to this any type of modification number. Then the number of submissions where there is a current child support order in the case. And so 20 have been delivered out of a total of 22 submissions. So obviously 2 submissions didn't have a child support order in the case. And so that is your total filings report. And again, that gets generated as a PDF. There's also a monthly and a yearly comparison report, so you can take those numbers that you just looked at and compare them on a month-to-month basis or a year-to-year basis. The marketing and transaction aging report aren't particularly pertinent to child support services transaction aging, having to do with how quickly a person is going to submit their filing once they got started. That's typically a little bit more relevant in applications where there are fees involved and they may be a little bit reluctant to pay those fees. And then the marketing report is just about what type of TurboCourt user is submitting filings. Is it registered as, are they registered as an individual, as an attorney, as a business, that sort of thing. But the filing details report is also another very helpful report, I would think, for your agency. And so here you can, again, use a number of different filters. The status of the filings, their, your user type, delivered from, and status changed, modified from, any of those, if they're pertinent to you, if you're wanting to see things that are sort of moving in process. But typically, if you just want to select all, and here you have the option of generating either a PDF or an Excel report. So let's just select all. And this brought up a 4-page PDF. And so here we're showing, again, the TurboCourt form set number, the submission name, the delivery date and time, the status of that submission at this moment in time, the name of the customer, and again, it's a test database, so you're not going to have the same person doing all of those filings, obviously, but their email address, their phone number. So this basically allows you to generate this report. Let's say, newly delivered filings, and then you can generate this report, and now you have the contact information for the applicants along with their form set number, and you can use this as a checklist, so to speak, and a contact list. And as I scroll down through this, again, in the case of Los Angeles, they divided up their filings into a case opening unit, filings that go there, and a modification review unit. And so this is where we have case opening filings and now modification review filings. And of course, if they've already been accepted, it shows the or I should say, if they've already been delivered, electronically delivered, these are the delivery date and time. So here you can see a filing that has been completed, but the individual has not electronically submitted it to your agency yet. And then, if you wanted to generate that exact same report, but in Excel format, it'll give you all of that same information, but now, because it's in Excel, it's going to allow you to do whatever you need to do with this information, because it's in a format Excel that allows you to resort or copy and paste or whatever you would need to do in terms of managing this list. So that's the filing details report. And so those are all reports that are available to you. And then it's just a matter of to whom on your staff you want to give access to this reporting module.